Okay, good evening everyone. We are a few days before Purim, and the topic for this class will be Purim, HaKipurim. Let me explain. We have in the Jewish calendar two dates. I mean, we have many dates, but we have two dates that the name of them in Hebrew are very close, which is Yom HaKipurim and Purim. Obviously, they look like two opposites. Yom HaKipurim is a very serious day, right? We're fasting, we're praying all day. Purim is a fun day. I mean, we have mitzvot in Purim also. You have to go to hear the Megillah twice in the evening and then again in the morning. We are busy with mitzvot. We're doing Mishloach Manot Ish L'Re'eu. We have to also think about the Purs, Matanot L'Evyonim, and we have Seudat Purim, which is very, very important. But Purim is a fun day. It's a fun day. It's a day of laugh. It's mentioned in the Kabbalah. There are sources for this, even in the Zohar or Tikkunei Zohar, but it's very well known in the name of the Ari HaKadosh, which was one of the great Mekubalim scholars ever. And he says the following, I'll quote his words in Hebrew and then I'll translate it. He says that Kedushat Yom HaKippurim, holiness of Yom HaKippurim, Tfelahi lePurim. It's less than Purim. Al tikre Kippurim, ela ke Purim. If you take the 5 letters of the word Purim and take the last 5 letters of Kippurim, you find they are the same. The only difference is the kaf in the beginning. The kaf in the beginning is like. Purim is the thing, and Yom HaKippurim is like Purim. So it's less. So Purim is in the highest level of Kedusha. How could we understand this? So this is the topic of our shiur now. Trying to understand it, it's very deep and it should cause us to be concentrated and try to understand deep things. I will start from Purim, from analyzing what Purim is, and then we'll go to Yom HaKippurim. The name of this day, Purim, mentioned in the Megillah, Al ken kar'u layamim ha'ele Purim, al shem HaPur. So the Megillah says why they call those names Purim, because of the Pur. What's the Pur? The Pur is the lottery. When Haman decided to destroy the entire Jewish nation, it says he chose to do it by doing a lottery, and the Megillah says Hipil Pur hu hagoral. So Pur, in probably old Persian, Pur is a lottery. So the Megillah bothered to tell us that Pur is a goral. Goral, lottery. The thing is that we call these days, Purim, not Pur. The difference, for those of you who knows Hebrew, the letters Yud Mem at the end of the word, always, are turning it from singular to plural. Examples, Yad, one hand, Yadayim, 2 hands. Regel, Raglaim, Ni, Berech, Birkaim, Lechi, Lechayim, etc. So when you take the Yud Mem at the end, it will turn it from singular to plural. Apparently, Haman did one lottery, right? So it's Pur. So how it become Purim? Plural. Because he thought to do one lottery, and actually it turned to be 2 lotteries. Or actually, the lottery that he did, that he thought to do something with this, just turned to do completely the opposite. So there were 2 lotteries over there. This is the reason that this day is called Purim. So the entire story, and this is a big thing, chose by Haman to be done by lottery. Why lottery? I mean, you want to kill the Jews? Okay, think what will be the most convenient day. So it's a logic thing. Just check out the calendar, see that it's okay. Why you have to do it by lottery? So in the lottery itself, there is something very, very deep. Interestingly enough, we find that in Yom HaKipurim, at the time of Bet HaMikdash, was also a lottery. Remember, it was there two goats, Shnei Seirei Yom HaKipurim. This is the Seder HaAvodah Yom HaKipurim. So how are we choosing between who's going to Hashem and who goes to just the opposite, L'Azazel? By lottery, again. Coincidence? Not really. So let's try to understand what lottery is. Logically, when I have to make a decision about anything, especially about something very important, very crucial, and I have two options, and they are contradict each other, what will be the most responsible way to deal with it, to make a decision? By thinking. Take the evidence, analyze them, see what's the best, right? Okay, let's think about such a thing. I have to make a decision. I have ability to think, to analyze things in very professional way. I weigh both sides. And then at the end, I find out that it's exactly 50-50. It's very rare. But let's say it's happened. 50-50. There's nothing that you could add to this in order to decide to one of them. What are you going to do then? Logically.
Drop a coin. Lottery.
Logically. What logically you should do? You know, it's a responsible decision. It's a crucial decision. Now you got to the point that you understand that your ability of thinking is not enough. You did everything that you could. But it's 50-50, meaning it's not a good tool to use. So what other tools you have? Responsible tools. It seems like when you do a lottery or coin, you're running away from the problem. This is not responsible, right? This is the most irresponsible thing. But do you have any other choice? What other choices you have? You use everything that you can. It's 50-50 exactly. So if it's 50-50, I could have a solution by give it to something beyond my... I admit that I could not make the decision over here. So I want to give it to... It's above me. It's bigger than me. So I'm going to give it to higher force. What will be the higher force? The luck, the who knows what, the chance. What is this chance? There is such a thing? So many people think yes. And you have to know that when you think so, if you think so, you are the most kaifer in the world. Kfira. It's when you think there is chance, there is nothing that happened by chance. If we believe that God created the world, God created the world for a reason, therefore He is supervising it, therefore nothing just happened. Nothing. Everything is supervised. Of course, if you're not in this level, like let's say Haman, if you take the extreme, say what? Let's take the chance decide. So there is a pasuk in Sefer Mishlei. The pasuk in Sefer Mishlei says the following: "Bachek yutal et hagoral, umehashem kol mishpatu." When they used to do lottery at the time, you know, they were not wearing their clothing the way we were. They were like a whole big thing that you wrap it around them, like, and that's the way, the old way they used to wear clothing. Men and ladies, the same thing. So they used to, if we saw pictures of, they have been...
Like the Indians.
Yeah.
Like in India.
So they have, the pockets was the thing that goes above the hand. They hold it like this and they put things over there and to keep it to go from place to place. That was the old way. So when they want to do a lottery, they put let's say, cards or whatever here, mix them, and blindly just take one, and this is the lottery. That was the lottery. So Shlomo Melech says, Bachek yutal et hagoral. It seems like it's happened, just by chance. Ume Hashem kol mishpato. Hashem is directing it, especially when we're talking about crucial things, like the existence in the world of the Jewish nation. Or decide which one of the goats will go to the most holy place, La Hashem, in Yom HaKipurim, and the other one will go to the most impure place, called Azazel. Those things not happen by chance. When you give it to the lottery, you said to yourself, listen, it's bigger than me. It's a very important decision. I could not make the decision. Let Hashem make the decision. And that's actually what happened in Purim. In Purim, Haman thought to eliminate the Jews from the universe. And he chose one day. This day was going to be a very crucial day. He thought, it's too big for me to decide, let's give it to the chance. But actually what happened that Hashem decided, and he decided just the opposite of he thought. I mean, it was the same day. But in the same day it was Venahafochu. Turned. It turned just the opposite. Asher yishletu haYehudim hema besonehem. At this day, which was the 13th day of Adar, 13th day of Adar, actually what happened practically at this day, that all the anti-Semites in all 127 states that were there got killed by the Jews, instead of them killing the Jews. That's Venafo. Purim is a very, very big day. I'll try now to explain again a bit of what the Kabbalah says about this, that Yom HaKippurim is like Purim, it's just like Purim, but Purim is the original. Purim is a serious day, even though keep doing whatever you're doing, do it l'shem shamayim, but it's a serious day. It's a very serious day. You have to remember that in this very day, we were almost finished, almost. I mean, Purim is the amazing miracle of saving the Jews from being killed in one day. You know, when we talk about anti-Semitism, there are many manifestations of anti-Semitism in the world, but when you talk about severe anti-Semitism in this generation, everyone will mention or remember Hitler, Yimach Shemo, and the Nazis. Right? They want exactly to do the same. להשמיד, להרוג ולאבד את כל היהודים. And if it was up to them, they will do it. When they conquered Europe, state after state, place after place, the first thing that they did, they collect the Jews and send them to Auschwitz. And if they were not stopped at the end of the war, they will keep going all over the world, not just in Europe. They started in North Africa also, and they sent Jews to Auschwitz. And if it was up to them and they were not stopped, they will go to Australia, to everywhere, and take the Jews and kill them. So this is terrible, horrible thing, right? You have to know that what Haman wants to do, it's much worse. Why? Because he got a permission from the king at the time that was ruling all 127 countries that Jews were there, to kill all the Jews in one day. For the Nazis, it took 6 years. From September 39, when they invaded Poland, to the end of the war in 45. 6 years. And they killed 1/3 of the Jewish nation in 6 years. Here we're talking about one day. One day. And it was almost happening. When Mordechai find out, it says in the Megillah, ומרדכי ידע את כל אשר נעשה, ויזעק זעקה גדולה ומרה. Because he knew that there is no chance. The Jews could not protect themselves. No one will let them to protect themselves. There's only one power that could save them, and this is God. It was no chance whatsoever according to the natural cause. Could not be. The Jews will be wiped out. And that was Purim. Now, let's go deeper. Let's try to understand why Haman hated the Jews so much. Who's Haman?
Amalek.
Yeah, I'll answer the questions. Who's Haman? Where he come from? Why he hated us so much? In a way that he took on himself a mission that no one Jew will left in the world. Typical anti-Semitism, I mean the extreme, the hardcore anti-Semitism. But why? What is the source of this? So if you try to look in the roots of Haman, it says in the Megillah that Haman was the son of Hamedata. It doesn't tell us anything because we do not know who's Hamedata. He was the father of Haman. But it says Haman ben Hamedata ha-Agagi. He was a descendant of, he came from Agag. Who's Agag? Agag was the king of a nation called Amalek at the time of Shaul HaMelech. We're talking about a little bit than 500 years before Haman was a king. By the name of Agag, he was the king of Amalek. Hashem told Shmuel HaNavi, after he appointed Shaul to be the king, first king, your mission as a king is to go and close our open account with Amalek. Go, destroy them. It's a mitzvah in the Torah. It's mentioned in Deuteronomy, in Sefer Dvarim. Hashem says in Sefer Dvarim, Zachor et asher asa lecha Amalek, and that's exactly what we're going to read in the Torah next Shabbat. Zachor et asher asa lecha Amalek. But be aware when that was, when Hashem said that, when it's written in Sefer Dvarim. Sefer Dvarim were giving to us at the end of the 40 years in the desert, the end of the journey in the desert. So Moshe Rabbeinu says, Zachor et asher asa lecha Amalek baderech b'tzetchem mitzrayim. Remember, 40 years ago, when you just went out of Mitzrayim, Amalek came and jumped on you and wants to kill you. Remember that. So, והיה בהניח השם אלוקיך לך מכל אויביך מסביב. Your mission, says Moshe Rabbeinu, at the end of the 40 years. Now, the immediate mission is to cross the Jordan River and conquer the land from the 7 nations, the Canaanites. After you finish with this, והיה בהניח השם אלוקיך לך מכל אויביך מסביב, תמחה את זכר עמלק. So first you have to conquer the land. Next thing is close the account with Amalek. So 400 years after they crossed the Jordan River, approximately, Shmuel HaNavi says to Shaul, it's your mission. You are the king, go do it. He did it. And that's what we're going to read in the Haftarah this Shabbat. He did it. He killed the Amaleks. He left the king. Actually for 1 or 2 days. That's it. The name of the king at the time was Agag. And because he left it, he let him survive for another few days. Because of that, 500 and something years after that, Haman was born. So Haman was a descendant of Agag. Agag was the kings of Amalek. Now, let's go deeper to the roots. Who is Amalek? And why they came to attack us after we went out of Mitzrayim? They were not our enemy at the time. The Jews was going from Egypt to Canaan. The nation of Canaan are 7 nations, which Amalek is not one of them. So it was not the target. What is the reason that he came all the way, across the entire desert, to fight with the Jews? What was his motive? If you do not understand this motive, you do not understand what anti-Semitism is. So what we have to know, that technically, Amalek was the name of a person. he was the head of the, he was a chief of the tribe, of the nation called Amalek. Like the old nation, all the nation, the old nation, even us. We called Israel because of Yaakov Avinu. So it's a name of a person, but became the name of a nation. Amalek is the same. Who was Amalek the person? Amalek the person was the grandson of Esav. Esav, the twin brother of Yaakov Avinu, has a son. His firstborn was Eliphaz. Eliphaz has many kids. One of them, not from his legal wife, was Amalek. So Amalek is the grandson of Esav. If we go even deeper, it's very interesting that Amalek was the son of Yitzchak and Rivka. He was the twin of Yaakov Avinu. When Rivka got pregnant, it was all turmoil in her stomach. So she wanted to understand what's going on. So it says in the beginning of Parashat Toldot, ויתרוצצו הבנים בקרבה, ותאמר אם כן, למה זה אנוכי? ותלך לדרוש את השם. She knew it's something unusual going on over here. She knew it's not a problem, of complexity of the pregnancy. There's something bigger. So she went to ask in the Bet HaMidrash of Shem Va'ever. And Hashem sent her a message in Nevuah. And Hashem told her the following. שני גויים בבטנך, ושני לאומים ממאייך ייפרדו, ולאום מלאום יאמץ, ורב יעבוד צעיר. What you're feeling right now is just the beginning. Those two fetus are going to be two people, personas. Those people, those brothers, going to fight with each other, but they're going to be fathers of two nations. And the conflict between the two fetus and the two brothers will continue during the history between the two nations that will come out of them. Shnei le'umim, two nations, will come out from this pregnancy. U'shnei le'umim me'ayich yiparedu. Be aware of this word. Yiparedu will be separated. And the entire time of the history, they will be in conflict with each other, with the intention of each to be above the other. The bottom line will be, at the end of days, V'rav ya'avod tzayir. The old one, the oldest, will be servants or slave of his younger brother. That was a prophecy that Rivka got. Now, what's going on over here? Try to understand this. In order to understand this, let's get deeper to the roots. It all started actually much earlier. It started by the creation itself. When Hashem created the world, I'm sorry about the late hour. You see, you look very tired. It's Monday? Okay, I'll try. It's deep things, but we have to do it because Purim is coming. We cannot delay it. When Hashem created the world, then the entire thing started. In Hebrew, the creation of the universe called Bri'at Ha'olam. Bri'ah is creation. Ha'olam. Why in Hebrew the world or the universe called Olam? So the secret of this is in Pasuk in Sefer Kohelet. In Sefer Kohelet, Perek Gimel, the 3rd chapter, it says, את הכל עשה יפה בעיתו, גם את העולם נתן בליבם. מבלי אשר לא ימצא האדם את המעשה, אשר עשה האלוקים מראש ועד סוף. Let me explain. Sefer Kohelet deal with the world, with how we should manage our time in this world. So in Sefer Kohelet, in the 3rd chapter, Shlomo HaMelech, King Solomon, started it with the statement, לכל זמן ועת לכל חפץ תחת השמיים. Everything has a time. Everything has a time. את הכל עשה יפה בעיתו. Everything that happening exactly in the right moment, in the right time. And he brings over there a list of 28 things. One and the opposite. And he said, if you're familiar with this, et laledet ve'et lamut, et livnot ve'et laharos, et lintoa ve'et la'akor natua. There are time for everything. Time to do constructive things or destructive things. Everything has time. 28 things in the list. After he finished the list, he said this pasuk again. Et hakol asa yafe be'ito. Everything that Hashem created, he did in the right way, with the beauty. Et hakol asa yafe be'ito. Then he adds, Gam et ha'olam natan belibam. He called the creation olam, and it says that Hashem put the universe in the heart of the people. Meaning, he gave a man, a human being, an urge to understand the world, to understand the beauty and the complexity of the universe. This is the words, Gam et ha'olam natan belibam. Human being has an urge to understand what's going on around. So Shlomo HaMelech finishes and says, Gam et ha'olam natan belibam, מבלי אשר לא ימצא האדם את המעשה אשר עשה אלוקים בראש ועד סוף. So Shlomo HaMelech said, but it's hopeless. A human being will never understand everything. He has an urge to understand everything. And because of this, you search and try to understand this and this and this, and you understand something, and it raises a million other questions. And you try to solve them, every question raises another billion questions. So he said, forget about it, it will never happen. You will never understand. Meaning the universe is a big enigma. You will try and try and try, but you have to know, the bottom line, you're not going to be succeeding in this. Therefore, says Rashi on the spot, the universe in Hebrew called Olam. Olam, the root of the words are the letters Ayin Lamed Mem, which is Ta'aluma. Ta'aluma is enigma. So the word is a big enigma. And you will never understand it, even though you want. Why Hashem did this? Hashem created very sophisticated, complicated creation. He created us. He gave us ability to think, an urge to understand, but we will never, he said, forget about it, you will never understand. So how come? So the reason for this is the following. The purpose of the creation was to create a human being. There are many elements in the human being. Billions of billions. We could not even imagine how many stars. The entire universe. So many elements. When Hashem created the human being at the end of everything, at the sixth day of the creation, at the end, He created the human being. Before Hashem created the human being, He says, "Na'aseh Adam betzalmeinu kidmutenu v'yirdu b'dgat hayam." I want to create now another creature, but it will not be another creature. I want a manager to run the entire universe that I created. I created everything, but now I want to create my partner. And therefore I will make him in my image, meaning in special abilities. Says Rashi on the spot, "Betzalmenu kidmutenu lehavinu lehaskil." He will be intelligent creature. The intelligent creature in the universe. And under his hand I will put the entire world to run. The purpose of the creation was to create a human being. The entire thing that we see around us is just the field. But the one who runs the system is the man. Okay, so what's the purpose of this? The purpose of this is Hashem wants to create a creature that will be creator. Hashem is the creator. Everything that He creates are creatures. when he created a human being, he created in his image, meaning to be a creator. In what way? To be a creator, what does it mean that a human being is a creator? Everyone probably heard about the laws of nature. The laws of nature are the dictator of everything that's happening in the universe, right? Everything is obligated to the laws of nature. Therefore, all the elements that we see around us are actually robots. They do not have personality, will, want. They're obligated. They function because the laws of nature dictate them what to do. The only exception is a human being in certain areas. Of course, we are also obligated to the laws of nature. But there are some areas that we are completely free to do whatever we want. I could react to a situation in one way, and I could do just the opposite of it. And it's up to me only, to my will. There's nothing like this in the universe. Only human being. And in this way, we are in the image of God. God is almighty. No reason direct him to force him to do something or not do it. He gave us this area that we could be creators. And because I could do something and do just the opposite, what I did. Let me explain this. Any act will relate to me only if I have the ability not to do it. I'll repeat it. Any action that I do relate to me, meaning I'm responsible for it, only when I have the option not to do it. If I was forced to do it, I didn't do it. The reason that forced me to do it is the one who is responsible to it. So, meaning without the free will, no one could ask us could hold us responsible to anything. Because we have free will, we got the credit when we did the good thing, the good deed, and the responsibility when we did not do good things. Because you could do just the opposite. So it's up to you. You did it. And in this way, you are a creator. A creator. Now, in order for free will to exist, free will is always between two options. Two contradict, opposite options. So when Hashem created the world, if you want to create a human being that will be a free willer, he had to create two options. And guess what? He created only one option. Why? Because the other one was there before. The two options are the positive and the negative. The positive was there before. The positive is God himself. So he didn't need to create it. So you know what happened when he created the world? He created the negative. When Hashem created the world, he created the negativity. He created the evil. Because the good was there before. And there is a pasuk in Yeshayahu. I don't know if I have to say it in English. Isaiah. Okay. And Rabbi Yeshayahu. Isaiah said, famous pasuk, you know it if you're praying every morning, but you have to know that when Chazal quote the pasuk from Isaiah, they change it. One word. They change one word. It says in the pasuk like this: Yotzer or uvore choshech, oseh shalom uvore ra. This is the original in the pasuk. In the verse it says again: Yotzer or ubore choshech, oseh shalom ubore ra. And Anshe Knesset Gdola, when the last Nevi'im, when they put the Siddur together, they quote the pasuk, but they switch it for their reasons. I'm not going to go into it now. From Osera, Oseh et hakol. But the original, and let me repeat, it's important. Yotzero, ubore choshech, oseh shalom, ubore ra. Now, in Hebrew, in real Hebrew, not the modern Hebrew, Lashon HaKodesh, the language of the Tanakh, it's very special language. One of the things that every word has a meaning. And no synonymous words. No words that say the same thing in different ways. Every word has very specific thing. So in the modern Hebrew, when I said Yotzer or Bore, it seems the same. Yotzer is create, Bore is also create. And actually, the exact, accurate translation for Yotzer is forming. Frame, form. That's Tzura, Yotzer. Bore is create. Now, what's the difference between them? Between Yotzer and Bore. Bore is Yesh Me'ayin. Creating something from nothing. That's Bore. Yotzer is giving form to something that exists. Yotzer is Yesh Mi-Yesh. When a carpenter take a wood and make out of it a chair, he didn't create the wood, he took existing wood, he just gave it a form, a tzura, a shape, right? So this is Yesh Mi-Yesh. This is Yetzirah. Bri'ah is Yesh Me'ayin. Only God could do that. Make something from nothing, from complete nothing. This is Bri'ah. So let's go back to this pasuk again. Yotzer or. Or is positive. It's light. Light gives us the ability to understand. Not just the technical, physical light, but when people are enlightened. You see things. You understand things. All is light. Darkness is a lack of light. That's why it's called choshech in Hebrew. Choshech is something missing, something chaser, chasuch. Va'echsoch otcha mechatoli, and prevent you from. This is choshech. You cannot see the reality. So when Hashem created the world, He didn't have to create the light, because the light was there before. Hashem in the Kabbalah books called Or and Sof, the ultimate light. So when He created the world, He took from this light and He formed it in a way that will befit the creation. It's not Yesh Me'ayin, it's Yesh Mi-Yesh. It's not something from nothing, but it's something from something that was before. Just gave it a form. Yotzero. Choshech, this is the creation. Bore Choshech was no Choshech before. It was all full of light. You could not imagine this. But He created darkness. Yotzero ubore Choshech, Oseh Shalom ubore Ra. What's Ra? Evil. So you know what happened when Hashem created the world? He created evil. Wow. What for? Says the Ramchal, very, very deep. Few words that are more complicated than an atomic bomb. Says the Ramchal, לא נברא הרע בעולם אלא כדי שישללוהו בני האדם. The evil were created in the world only for one reason, that people, human beings, will deny it. If they will deny it, their connection to the good will be active and not passive. If it was only light, everyone will be connected to the light. But automatically, you do not have to do anything because there is no other options. When you have two options, and you have to deny the evil by effort, because he has way to tempt you to take it. It's very sophisticated, the evil. When you push it, your connection to the good is active, it's not passive. And in this way, you created yourself. Okay, let's go back to Purim. Right? When Hashem created the world, He created evil. In the Kabbalah, it says, it's called the other side. There's a notion in Kabbalah called Sitra Achra. Sitra in Aramaic is side. Achra is the other side. Acher. Sitra Achra meaning that there is an original one, that this is the other side of it. What is the original one? God Himself. Because he wants to create a field of free will, what was missing? The other side. So he created the other side. What he created it for? In order for us to deny it. This force is very powerful, the evil. Because in order to have a free will, you need to have two options that are equivalent to each other. Because if one has a benefit, no one will choose the other one. So Hashem has to give a lot of power to this evil, to make it equivalent to the good. Only then will be a real, fair free will.
Is that the reason in Israel we have so much of evil?
In the world, the entire world. Anyways, this power is a spiritual power called evil. There are many manifestations of how this power appear in the world. The first appearance of this power was by the snake in Garden of Eden. Hashem says to Adam, look, I created you, you need to eat. Here's the food. Look around. All the trees are for you to eat. You need to eat. And I created food for you. There is one tree. It's there. Don't eat from it. The entire story about Chet Etzadat Tovara is a big thing. I just will say the bottom line. The snake came to Adam and Chava and told them, Af ki amar Elokim lo tochlu mikol etz hagan. Even though God told you don't eat from it, I'm telling you, eat from it. And here is the first challenge. That Adam was standing in front, the free will is about to be actualized, and what was on the scale. I don't think I have to listen to God. He told me not to. But there is an urge, temptation, to listen to the evil. And he was struggling, and then he decided to deny God and accept the idea of the evil. And here, by his first free will, he took the entire universe to a certain direction. Not good one. After Adam chose what he chose, he interfered with the creation of God. He gave power, human being gave power to the evil. And the balance was not balanced anymore between good and evil. The evil is stronger. And it's going like a snowball. 10 generations from Adam to Noah. וכולם היו מכעיסים והולכים. They went against and against and against until after 10 generations they were so corrupt they didn't have the right to exist. So Hashem bring the flood and destroyed everything aside from Noah and his 3 sons. But they didn't learn the lesson. 10 generations right after that, from Noah to Nimrod to Avraham Avinu, they built the tower. The Tower of Babylon. They said, we do not want God anywhere, even up there. We do not want God. We have our ideas about what we're going to do in the creation. We do not take into account what God was thinking. The only person at the time, the only person that knew the truth and fought for it was one person, Avraham Avinu. And Avraham was Avraham העברי, שהוא עומד מעבר אחד, וכל העולם כולו עומד מעבר. He was standing in one side, and the entire world was against it. He chose to do just the opposite of what Adam HaRishon did. To fight the evil and make the right king the king, which is God. It was not easy, and it's not easy until today. And this is the only reason of anti-Semitism. You have to know that. You know why they hate us so much? Because the problem is that we do not understand what we're doing, what we represent. We are the representative of God. And in a way, it's very funny. You know, some of them will say, yeah, you are the chosen people. Right? If we are the chosen people, how come you killed and murdered us in every evil way during the last 2,000 years? Inquisition, pogroms, anti-Semitism. It's very funny. They admit that we are the chosen people. Every Christian knows that the only nation that talked to God, that God talked to them, they admit, is the Jews, right? We brought the world the morality, the 10 Commandments, right? We brought them to the world. So in a way, they have to appreciate us. And yet they hate us. Not today, not in America. Okay. But don't forget the last 2,000 years. It's not, you cannot erase it that because they're nice today. What's the reason for this? Tell you what the explanation of this. Our job is very, very hard. It's like the most brilliant, amazing student in the class, right? The one who loves to learn, and he's smart and he understands everything. The best student. Who loved him? The teachers. Who hate them? The entire students, right? Why? Because he created standards. If he could, you could do too. So deep down, I'm not happy with this best student because his success obligates me. I know it's the right thing, but I'm lazy. I don't want to be good. So I hate him. Deep down. This is the reason that they hate us. We give morality to the world. They admit morality is very important. But you know what? My urge is, I want to steal here and there. I want to be not moral here and there. I know it's not right. And you are the reason that I have these morals. So I'm not saying this in my one, but subconsciously I hate you. They hate us. Avraham Avinu was the one that stand in front of everyone and say, you are wrong. You are wrong. There is one truth. And here comes something very deep. And here we go to a Kabbalah sources. There is something that mentioned here and there in the Nevi'im, in the pshat of the words of the Nevi'im, of the prophets in the Tanakh, called Beirur. יתבררו ויתלבנו ויצרפו רבים. לברר is to separate. The Kabbalah explained that after Adam and Chava, ate from Etz Hadat Tov. What Etz Hadat Tov? Etz Hadat Tov is a tree that anyone who eats from the fruits of this tree will mix in their concept the good and evil. This is Tov Vara. Will be no good and evil separated, but mixed. This is the Etz Hadat Tov. And Adam said, God said to Adam, don't eat from this tree. If you eat, you're going to mix everything. Will be no good anymore. Every good will have evil in it. Every evil will have some good in it. Everything will be confused. Don't do it. The Nachash, the Sitra Achra, want them to do it because it served his purpose. And he tempted them to do this, and they did. And they mixed everything. Mixed everything. There is no good, no evil. Everything is mixed. After Avram, 20 generations after, Adam decided to go for the truth. Actually, what he decided is to take them on themselves to separate the good from the evil. Therefore, Hashem told them, Lech lecha me'artzecha. You have to separate yourself from the people that you was born with, the society that you grew up. Lech lecha, go away. That was the first step of the separation. So he took Avram and told him, go from this place. They are sinners. They are belong to the evil. They are idol worshippers. Go. Where? To a certain place. There is only one place on earth that your mission is going to be successful. This is the land. El haaretz asher arek. There is one place. So he went. He went, and he was old, and he has no continuation. And according to the laws of nature, he will never have children with Sarah. But God promised him, I will make out of you a great nation. And by complete miracle, against the laws of nature, he gave them a son when they have no ability technically to have him, Yitzchak, when he was 100 years old and Sarah was 90 years old. She was after the time that she could bring children to the world, and Hashem gave them the son by miracle against the law of nature. By the way, you have to know, this son has a very, very funny name. Yitzchak. Yitzchak in Hebrew is laf, right? But if you know the grammar, Yitzchak, Yud in the beginning of the word, always make it future. Yitzchak. It should be tzchok or tzachak in the past. Yitzchak is in the future. Tzachak misha tzachak acharon. The laugher who is the laugh at the end. Okay. Why it's Yitzchak? Why his name was Yitzchak? Because when Hashem told Avraham, I'm going to give you a son from Sarah, he fell. He laughed. When Sarah heard that, she laughed also. When she got the baby, she said, Tzchok asali Elokim. It's funny. It's funny. It doesn't make any sense. Because it's against the laws of nature. And this is also a reason for anti-Semitism. Because the nature could not get us. We are against the nation. By our existence, by our coming to the world against the law of nature. We are out of this world. Out of this world, double meaning. We are out of here. We don't belong to here. And we represent something that the world is hard to digest, as I said before. So that was the first thing. Avraham has, as you know, has more children than just Yitzchak, right? He has Ishmael from Hagar, and he has another children from Keturah. The second step of the separation was when Sarah told Avraham Avinu, "Garesh ha'ama hazot ve'edma, ki lo yirash ben ha'ama hazot im Yitzchak." Send Ishmael and Hagar away. They could not be with Yitzchak. At the beginning, Avraham has very hard time with this. The Torah says, "Vayira davar meod be'nei Avraham al odot bno." It was very hard for him. But God told him, do exactly what she said. Al yira davar be'necha. That was the word of God. Not just do what she said. Don't feel bad about it. This is the right thing to do. And he separated Yishmael from Yitzchak. Right before he passed away, it says, "Vayiten Avraham et kol asher lo liyitzchak. ולבני הפילגשים אשר לאברהם נתן אברהם מתנות וישלחם קדמה אל ארץ קדם." He took the other sons and also sent them away. He gave everything that he had to Yitzchak. And that was the second step of the separation. So we are now in a process to separate back the good from the evil. So the entire, if you heard about this idea, this notion, it's mentioned, many people mention that they have no clue what they're talking about. You heard about the tikkun? Maha tikkun. What's the tikkun? Fixing. What's the fixing? When the Kabbalists talk about fixing, it talks exactly about this. The fix, the damage of Chet Adam HaRishon, which is the mix of every good with evil. So the second step is Yitzchak that come from Avraham and separate him from Ishmael and Bnei Keturah. But it's not ended there. Then Yitzchak, also, his wife was barren, she could not bring children to the world. Right? Remember Parashat Toldot? ויתר יצחק להשם לנוכח אשתו כי עקרה, she was barren, she could not bring children to the world. ויתר להשם. And then, what happened? Yitzchak has only two sons, Yaakov and Esau. And they were in the same pregnancy, from the same parents. Ishmael was from a different wife. Bnei Keturah was from Avraham, from a different wife. But Yitzchak was Yitzchak and Rivka was the parents, the father of the mother of Yaakov and Esau in the same pregnancy. When Rivka felt that something going on, she went to get explanation, and Hashem told her, "Shnei goyim bevitnech, u'shnei laumim im'ayich yiparedu." They are twins, but they're going to be separated. This is part of the separation. The Kabbalah explained that the hardcore of the impurity of evil was still stick in the Kedusha, the holiness of Avraham and Yitzchak. And that was the pregnancy that was over the Yaakov and Esau, from the same pregnancy. Now, from now on, to the end of days, will be a conflict between them. Each one will say, I'm the main thing. You will be under me. And they will be always one up, one down, one up, one down. At the end of days, then, only then, it will be solved. Amalek was the grandson of Esau. And he was the concentrate opposition to Yaakov. That's what drives them to come and attack the Jews right after Hashem made for them amazing miracle in Egypt. Egypt at the time was the superpower in the world. Purim tried to play games with God. Hashem destroyed his kingdom completely by the 10 plagues. Then he destroyed the entire army by make them drown in Yam Suf. And then Esau came. And then Ishmael came. Who's Ishmael? Amalek, I'm sorry. And then Amalek came. Who's Amalek? Amalek is not a superpower. No one even threatened him. Why he came all the way? What drives him? He realized that now everyone will understand that Avraham was right. There is good and there are evil. And if so, he has no rights to exist. So he has to destroy the impact. So he came Amalek and attack. He was the first enemy that attacked us. And what drives him is that he just the opposite. It's that the evil that has the motivation to survive. And he could not survive if the good will appear. Now we find the descendant of Amalek in Purim, Haman. Because, let's just skip all the station in the way. Esau and Yaakov. Remember the story that he was born first and then he sold his rights of the firstborn, right? And then later on, Yaakov got the brachot. And when Esau realized this, he decided to kill Yaakov. He decided to kill him. You have to understand that many, many years after, when Haman says, ויבז בעיניו לשלוח יד במרדכי לבדו כי הגידו לו את עם מרדכי. ויבקש להשמיד, להרוג ולאבד את כל היהודים. When he decided this, it was not a new decision. It was renewing the decision of Esau. Because at the time was no Jewish nation, was Yaakov, and Esau decided to kill Yaakov. So we see during the history that what God says to Rivka, שני גויים בבטנך ושני לאומים ממאייך יפרדו ולאום מלאום יאמץ. Those nations will be in conflict. We see during the history, if you just analyze what happened. And that's what happened in Purim. Okay, now let's go back and try to conclude Purim and Yom HaKipurim. And for that, again, I need something deep from the Kabbalah sources. The second mitzvah in the 10 Commandments is don't bow down, don't accept any other force like your God. This is idol worshiper. Don't be idol worshiper. The Jewish nation accept the 10 Commandments. All of them. ויענו כל העם יחדיו. This is the only time in the history that the Jews were unified. Imagine. Jews unified, agree about one thing. Never. 2 Jews, 3 opinions. You know that. But we said, אתה אחד ושמך אחד ומקמך ישראל גוי אחד. When it happened, once in the history. When God offered us the Torah in Ma'amad Sinai. ויענו כל העם יחדיו. No one was against. We're accepting it. So we accept it as a nation. We made a covenant between us as a nation with God. It took us 40 days. 40 days to bow down to the golden calf. And what happened to what you just accept on yourself 40 days ago? לא תעשה לך פסל. Don't make a statue. אשר בשמיים, don't do statue. And we made the statue. What was the decree at the time? God talked to Moshe when Moshe was on the mountain. And he says to him, and Moshe mentioned that when he reviewed it 40 years after in Sefer Dvarim, he said, I was in the mountain, he described, I was in the mountain for 40 days. And then Hashem told me, Vayomer Hashem Elai, I'm quoting from Deuteronomy chapter 9. ספר דברים פרק ט' ויאמר השם אליי קום רד מהר מזה כי שיחת עמך אשר הוצאת מארץ ממצרים סרו מהר מן הדרך אשר ציוויתים עשו להם מסכה ויאמר השם אליי לאמור ראיתי את העם הזה והנה עם קשה עורף הוא הרף ממני ואשמידם. Those are the words in the Torah. הרף ממני, let me destroy them. ואשמידם. Eliminate them. Those are the words. So because of Chet HaEgel, from Midat Adin, and Moshe prayed and begged Hashem, and Hashem said, okay, I'm not going to do it now. וביום פקדי ופקדתי עליהם חטאתם, but I'm not going to do it now. Meaning, מצד הדין, from the attribute of judgment, Chas v'shalom, the Jewish nation should be wiped out because they broke the covenant between them and God. Right? So Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu, help me, just let me. Moshe Rabbeinu said, I'm not letting you. I'm not letting you. But if he, Chas v'shalom, let Hashem do it, Midat Adin, the attribute of judgment, will eliminate the Jews. Heref mimeni v'ashmideh. Now, what happened over there? Why? Why the Jews bow down to the golden calf? What is the golden calf? What is idol worshiper? Idol is to take something that's not the real thing and relate to it like it's God. Right? What actually is the power, this power? The Sitracha. The Sitracha is the other side. To take not the right side and make it like the right side. So this is the root of Avodah Zarah. So we see that the snake, which is, the Kabbalah says, it's Nachash ve'ochvo. It's the snake or kind of animal, whatever it was, right? But he has a rider. And the rider is this spiritual force called Sitrach. When he convinced Adam and Chava to not listen to God, what he caused them? Death. Right? It happened again by Chet HaEgel. They were convinced by the Erev Rav, whoever made the Egel, Ele Elohecha Yisrael, and they bowed down to the golden calf. What was the attribute of judgment demanding? Death. Okay? You have to know that Yom HaKipurim, we have Yom HaKipurim only because of Chet HaEgel. In brief. The calendar was like this. The schedule. The 15th day of Nisan, we went out of Egypt. 50 days after, and the 6th day of Sivan, was the appearance of God, the revelation at Sinai. We said Nasa v'nishma, we got the Torah. It was the 6th day of Sivan, 50 days after Yetziat Mitzrayim. The following day, Zayin Sivan, Moshe Rabbeinu went to the mountain for 40 days. 40 days ended at Yud Zayin B'Tammuz. The 17th of Tammuz, he came down with the Luchot. But at this very day, they made the Eged. So he broke the Luchot. So the first tablets were broken. In Yud Zayin, the 17th of Nisan, of Tammuz. Yud Chet B'Tammuz, 18th day of Tammuz, he judged Moshe Rabbeinu, all those worshippers of the Egel. And the following day, the 19th of Tammuz, he went to the mountain for 40 days to pray that Hashem will not destroy us. It ended at the first day of Elul. Then Hashem told him, bring new tablets. Bring them up. I will rewrite the 10 Commandments and then you will get them back. That was the first day of Elul. 40 days, end of in the 10th day of Tishrei. And the 10th day of Tishrei, which is Yom HaKipurim, we got the Luchot HaShnim after we got the Torah. We got the document that we heard a few months before, we got it finally at Yom HaKipurim. Therefore, Yom HaKipurim becomes the day that Hashem is forgiving us. Because we did tshuva and we got the Torah. Therefore, the 10th day of Tishrei become Yom HaKipurim every year. Every year. This is the source of Yom HaKipurim. Now, what is the work in Yom HaKipurim? The Kohen HaGadol in Yom HaKipurim take 2 goats. They should be similar, very similar. The Mishnah in Masechet Yoma said, Shnei Seirei Yom HaKipurim, those 2 goats, צריך שיהיו שווים במראה, בקומה, בדמים ובלקיחתם כאחד. This is the 6th chapter in Masechet Yoma. שני סירי יום הכיפורים. צריך שיהיו שווים במראה. They should look similar. בדמים. When you pay for them, don't pay more on one on the other. Same value. בקומה, same heights. Not on one taller, one smaller. ובלקיחתם כאחד, when you take them from one shepherd. Then, after they are very, very similar, you have to separate them. Separation again. Separate. One goes to the Holy of Holy. One goes to just the opposite direction. Those 2 goats are Yaakov and Esau. Yaakov and Esau. Esau is the evil that connected to the holiness. Hashem says to Rivka they have to be separated. Now, how do you say goats in Hebrew, in the Torah language? Shnei seirim, velakachat shnei seirim. Why they called seirim? What's seir? Seir is se'ar. What's se'ar? Hair. Hairy, right? So the goats has hair, the fur of the goats. Therefore, it's called seirim. When Esau was born, it says, "Vayetze rishon admoni kulo ke'aderet se'ar." He was a funny baby. He was the firstborn, right? When he came out, imagine, could you use them in your imagination? A little baby, covered with hair, from toe to the top, to the head. Kulo ke'aderet se'ar. Yeah, like a monkey, with red head, red hair, all over. Admoni kulo ke'aderet se'ar. Then came his brother. He was a normal baby. No, not too hairy. Later on, if you remember, when Rivka told him, Yitzchak want to bless your brother, go inside. He could not see, so he will give you the brachot. What Yaakov said? I could not go. My father could not see, but he could feel me. He will feel me, he will see that I'm not hairy like my brother. So what Rivka did? She said, don't worry, I thought about this too. Give me the goats. He gave her the goats, shnei izim, and she made the food. She took the skin and the fur and put it on his hands. So if his father will feel him, he will not realize. And when he came, his father suspected him. Are you my son Esau? He said, yes. He said, let me feel you. So he came to him and he feel him and he didn't realize because he was feel like hairy like his brother. So we find over here 2 seirim. 2 brother. One was real hairy, and the other one was pretending. Fake news. fake hairy. And you know what? Yaakov was the first dress upper ever. In Purim we dressed up, right? We cover ourselves in a way that no one will realize who we really are. Yaakov was the first one. And then he tricked Esau and he took from him the blessing. Esau decided to kill him. Haman was a descendant of Esau who wants to kill him. By the way, it's a medrash, it's not a joke. It's a medrash. The medrash says on the pasuk, when you send in Yom HaKippurim the goat to the desert, it says, "V'nasa ha'sa'ir alav et kol avonotam el eretz gzera." So says the Midrash, "V'nasa ha'sa'ir ze Esav, shene'emar hen Esav achi ish sa'ir." Et kol avonotam, the Midrash says, kol avonot Tam. Two separate words. העוונות של התם. יעקב איש תם יושב ואלים. So all the sins of the Tam will be on the head of the one, the Seir that goes to the desert. Okay, let's conclude it with Purim. What happened in Purim? Now, in order to separate the evil that mixed up with the good, you could not do it by yourself. You need lottery. You need God to do it. And therefore, Kohen HaGadol, we're not choosing him. They are similar. You know, the good and the evil look so similar. In order to create ability to free will, they look similar. You cannot choose or decide. Only if you get directions from God, then you should know what's right, what's wrong. If not, everything seems like the same thing. In Yom HaKipurim, we separated them, not by our power, but the power of God. The lottery. By the lottery, we separate them, send one to be killed in the desert and one to be close to the God. That's exactly what happened in Purim. In Purim, the descendant of Amalek, Esav, evil, decided to wipe out the Jews. He made a lottery. In this lottery, if he will win, will be no two sides, only one, the evil. God turned it by the story of the Megillah. And that's what we celebrate in Purim. But what happened there? It was a miracle, but hidden miracle. It was like the story of killing Vashti and then putting Esther right in the... If you read the Megillah, you know each one of the events is normal. But if you put all of them together, you see a plan. Therefore, when you read the Megillah, you're not allowed to stop in the middle. You have to read it from the beginning to the end. Because only when you see it, you see the plan behind the scene. It says that at the end of days, Megillat Esther will still be relevant, even when Mashiach will come, when the ultimate Gula will come. Why? Because the story of the Megillah that happened within 9 years, from the Bishnat Shalosh Lemolcho, the third year when he did the party and killed Vashti, to the time of the hanging of Haman, which was in the 12th years, right? 9 years. In those 9 years, this is a micro of what's going to happen in a big picture, in the macro of the entire universe. We think that everything is just by chance. It happened here, it's happened. Nothing happening. There is a plan. There is free will. But we are not running the show. We could do whatever we could do. And we could do stuff. But we could not change the bigger plan. There is a supervision. God is running the show. And at the end, everything will turn when you'll be less ready. It will be a big surprise. And that will be the big laugh at the end of days. That's why Yitzchak is Yitzchak. Because now, the entire world is not just an enigma. It's a big joke. It's a long joke. You know, good joke, when someone really know how to get to tell joke, he give you information. He throw information, here a piece, here a piece. He make you connect all the pieces and think different direction, a certain direction. Then at the end, when you're not ready, he just give you one piece of information that switch everything just to the opposite side. And then you so in shock that you laugh. And you laugh big. And the bigger you laugh and the longer it takes, it means that the joke was really good. We are in the middle of the joke. Actually, we're very close to the end. We are very close to the end of days. And if you look at the history, you could see it doesn't make sense. How the Jews survived. We're just going to say it 1 month after Purim. ואיש העמדה, in the Haggadah של Pesach, שבכל דור ודור עומדים עלינו לכלותנו. In every, Jews saying this so many years, and it's so true. So true. In every generation, there is someone who decided that the mission of it, to kill the Jews. So at the time, it was Haman, it was Hitler, it was Ahmadinejad, it was always there is someone who wants to wipe the Jews. And yet we survive. God. והקדוש ברוך הוא מצילנו בידם. At the end of days, you know how many Jews we have in the world? Do you know the numbers? Maybe 13, 14 million, maybe. Many of them do not know that they're Jewish and they do not care about this. How many Jews there are in the world that really knows what Judaism is, live it, and proud of it?
2 million.
Maybe 2 million. Maybe 2 million.
Yeah.
You know, this is such a small number. The population of the world is 7 billion, more than 7 billion. What?
How can you say 2 million? Israel, there's 7 million Jews in Israel.
No. First of all, 6.
6 million, okay.
And
only a third of them, what about the rest of the world?
no, only 1/10 of them may be keeping mitzvot. Shabbat.
Most of them were pretty well know they're Jewish.
No, I'm not
Even
talking
if
about
they're not.
No, it's not. You do Judaism? How many people practice Judaism? It's not a nice book on the shelf.
That's a different.
All right, okay? So if you take all the people who are observing mitzvot seriously, they leave Torah. They eat kosher, they keep Shabbat, everything. In the entire world, you cannot find 2 million. You know, the population of the world 16 years ago crossed the 7 billion. 1% of 7 billion is 17 million. 14 million is less than 1/4%. And out of it, most of them do not know that they're Jewish or they do not care about Judaism. At the end of days, when the truth will be revealed, that will be the biggest joke ever. How it could be? Billions of people, big religion. All of them is lie? Yeah, when it will reveal that will be the real Purim. And Purim that we celebrate now is the revelation of the Kedusha, the saving of the good from the evil. Therefore, Purim is higher than Yom HaKipurim. I didn't explain why it's higher, but you understand that it's at least the same, but it's higher. If we'll have another hour, I'll explain why. But we don't. So with this, we'll go to Purim, Be'ezrat Hashem, upgrading our understanding what we thought Purim is until now. Thank you. Any questions?